Welcome to the Real Business Lifetime Lessons podcast, where Carolina business leaders get real about growth, grit, and leadership. I'm Aubrey Fitzloff, and this is Founders and Frontlines, conversations with entrepreneurs on the front lines of Carolina business, building and leading with resilience. Our guest this week is Terry Spalding. Terry brings decades of luxury hospitality experience to his leadership at Cataloochee Ranch, where community connection and intentional guest experiences are at the heart of everything he does. In this conversation, we'll explore how Terry's people first leadership style has evolved, what it takes to create lasting legacy in a rural market, and how story driven hospitality creates lifelong memories. Terry, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Aubrey. Thanks for having me.
Terry, you've taken a unique path through hospitality. What's one early moment that affirmed you were exactly where you were supposed to be?
I think the very first time someone thanked me for coming home, when they felt as though they checked into our property. I can remember about 2:30 in the morning working the overnight shift in Washington, D.C., and checking in a couple that had been flying overseas. For them, 2:30 in the morning was normal, and for us, it was the middle of the night. And I just remember them being thrilled that we were there. We were ready to welcome them. We were ready to personalize their stay. And they said, thank you. We always feel like we're coming home. And that's when that shift kind of happened for me. People were coming to a place that they felt comfortable and that they felt seen and valued and recognized. And that made me want to continue doing it.
When you and I chatted before, you mentioned feeling like royalty the first time you visited a Ritz-Carlton. How did that one experience for you as a guest shape your entire leadership philosophy?
For me, it was quite different than what I was used to. I had taken an opportunity to go to dinner at the Ritz-Carlton. And for me, that, coming from a very humble beginning, it was very fancy. It was very different than I was used to. And I remember something as simple as getting up to use the restroom. And when I returned to the table, my napkin was folded. Those little things made me feel important. And when the waiter or waitress addressed our table, she knew my name and knew preferences that we had. She knew that we were celebrating Valentine's Day a little bit late. And just all of that care and sentiment behind it made me feel important and made my date feel very important. And it was something that I hadn't experienced before. So it was something that at that moment I thought, I want to make other people feel like that.
But moving forward to where you're at now, Cataloochee Ranch and the Swag, they both have this beautiful balance of nature, legacy, and luxury. What was your vision when you first took the general manager role at the property?
Aubrey, this place is so special. There's 100 years of history here. From a leadership perspective, we wanted to preserve what is so charming and all of the memories that have taken place on this mountain. I didn't want to come and change the things that people hold so close to them, the memories they've had here with their families. So we wanted to really preserve that. What's been important and what's worked for so long. And then we wanted to enhance it. And I knew that at least in this role as a steward of this property, I want to position it to see another 100 years worth of memories. I knew it was important to make a place where the community felt seen and valued and welcome. Many times I feel like a luxury property may come to a destination and the local community feels as though, oh my gosh, that's only for the bougie people. That's not a place where we're all welcome. And so early on, we wanted to create this place where not only the community felt very welcome because they've had those memories here for a century almost. And so the community, the team members that work here, creating a place where they were proud, where they went home at the end of the day and someone they loved asked about their day. And in hospitality, we have incredibly stressful periods of time and peaks and valleys in our business. And at the end of the day, I wanted them to go home and someone they love say, hey, how was your day? It was great. I love working there. I'm proud to be there. So that pride from the community, that pride from the team members, and then of course, pride from our guests when they stay here, they want to tell the story of their experience. That was really the philosophy behind the leadership of Cataloochee Ranch.
You've led teams in major metropolitan areas and now in a rural mountain community. How has your leadership approach evolved across different landscapes?
I suppose in major metro communities, we have a more robust group of individuals who have made hospitality their career and who have worked in ultra luxury hospitality. So you have a very seasoned or career servers, seasoned or career doormen, bellmen, hosts, hostesses. And in these more rural communities that I've worked in, perhaps someone may have not ever experienced this level of hospitality. So at least my philosophy changed when traveling the country, working at different properties in these locations to find individuals who had the attitude and they had the desire, they had the ambition, they came in and saw what we were doing and said, I want to do that. I want to provide that kind of service to people. And so we become a teaching property where those standards from other destinations have come to mold and really complement the authentic hospitality that you see in these communities. And so the rural community has, at least the one I'm in now, has this authentic Southern hospitality. And we've just polished that a little bit.
So, what lessons have you learned about cultivating a workplace culture like that in such a tight knit mountain community?
Make time for people. As leaders, oftentimes we'll retreat to an office or into our daily routines. And I think that being present, being a part of the operation, and really getting to know the folks that you work with, the same principles that we use to really wow our guests, remembering their name and using it in conversation and knowing when their birthday is, their anniversary, what it is that drives them. So I think one thing that served me very well is a structured weekly one-on-one meeting with every team member so that I can hear about what they're facing, what innovative ideas they have, what challenges they have, what areas of growth they see for themselves, and really helping cultivate that. But you got to know the people you're working with. And I think treating them the exact same way as we treat our guests, well, not only makes them feel respected and valued and seen, but also it's practice for when we are talking to our guests. It comes naturally and we build that muscle memory. So I think just really getting to know people and practicing the same principles we do with our guests, Aubrey.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. When we chatted before, you talked about storytelling as part of the guest journey and part of the hospitality experience. Can you share a favorite example where a personal story of your own truly elevated the experience for a guest?
Storytelling is a cornerstone of what we do. Every ingredient we use, everything that we utilize in a guest room or their experience is intentional. And I can remember one time we call it Show Me You Know Me, but really what we're doing is kind of pre-spying on our guests to learn their preferences. And at one point, there was a team member at the front desk who I can't remember what anniversary it is, but she researched that anniversary and found that it was the paper anniversary, meaning the gift that one would give would be an item that was paper. And she created these origami roses. And when the guests checked in, they simply thought, hey, these are little roses that somebody created out of paper for us. Well, we told the story that Robin had looked that up and found out that it was their paper anniversary and that the gentleman's grandmother's name was Rose. And so there was this real personal connection through the show me you know me or the pre-spying on our guests a little bit, the secret squirrel stuff we do behind the scenes that was so intentional. And when we told them that story, they were completely wowed. Just how could somebody working here at this front desk have that much foresight and that much desire to make us feel special and to make us feel like we were at home? That's just one simple example, but there's so many throughout my career, and that one really, really rings true.
When we talked before, I mentioned that I had worked my way through college working in hotels and having the time to learn about a single guest experience, especially if they've come from a long day of travel, it really does change how their day goes. It's really valuable that you guys build the time into your schedules to be able to do that personalization for a guest because sometimes it just doesn't work that way when you're traveling. When you're designing guest experiences, how do you balance personalization with operational structure?
We schedule ourselves time to ensure that we have done our due diligence and captured any ways that we could anticipate guests' needs ahead of time. I think in this industry, we get to a point where we're manning the ship, but we're not providing the vision. For me, it's really making the time and celebrating the team members who have this desire and who really go out of their way to find something that's going to make an experience special. We recognize the heck out of that, even to the point where a team member might get embarrassed because we make such a big deal out of it. But that's how we create this culture and this desire to do that. And to balance that with operational needs, it's simply scheduling for it. And the expectation has to be there that we have the time to create these personalized moments for guests, that it simply doesn't meet our expectation if we just go through the motions. It's during the interview process. It's tell me a story. We ask very intentional behavioral-based interview questions. And so it starts from the interview process. We're truly seeking individuals that can recount and think back to a time and tell us a story about a particular instance where they maybe wowed a guest or told the story of a particular ingredient. Or then, of course, it rolls into training. And we train how to tell stories and how to pull those stories out of our ladies and gentlemen working with us. It's daily lineup meetings. For instance, chef will bring out a new dish and every team member will try that dish. We'll then go around the room and tell something about that dish. These are fresh sunburst trout from the farm in Canton, North Carolina, 15 minutes away, partnered with culinary gardener Evans Produce and his fresh broccolini. So we're practicing that. We're sourcing ladies and gentlemen that like to tell that story, and then we're practicing it and consistently recognizing when team members do so. Like, hey, great job. That was cool. I really heard you talking to that guest about where the grits come from and the farm that produced those carrots and where that pig's life took it before it ended up at the end of its life cycle on our menu. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, the history at the ranch, there's 100 years of history that's fun and cool and exciting. And we tell that story. We involve the community. We involve those ladies and gentlemen who worked here and owned the property previously. So it's part of who we are. And I think it should be part of any boutique hotel to tell the story.
What do you think distinguishes Cataloochee Ranch from other luxury properties in the Southeast?
The people that we have here have such pride. Many have worked here for generations. Grandfather worked here and now grandson works here. And ladies and gentlemen that grew up here on the property, Wranglers who are second generation. That really distinguishes us. The pride that people have in working here, that resonates. And when a guest checks into our property or comes for a meal or an adventure, they feel that. It's genuine, it's real, it's authentic. The commitment we have to our community and to this land, we border the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And so our 800-acre property, nearly 700 acres, is held in a conservation easement so that we can enjoy this property and our guests can enjoy it for another century. I think the authentic service is definitely a huge differentiator. We have the right people in the right places to provide these memories for folks. And we have an emphasis on training it's just a much higher standard. There's consistent role-playing, mock services. Every day we're practicing something new and we're committed to continual growth. I think that really differentiates us.
Conservation and land stewardship played into your brand and your guest education.
Our guests love that they can come to this property and know that the majority of it is wilderness and it will always be wilderness. So we've protected that part of our property. Like I said, I think 700 of the 800 acres here are conserved, but we border the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And so championing those initiatives that the park takes and partnering with the Friends of the Smokies just to conserve the land and to pay back and provide this setting for ladies and gentlemen to come here for centuries to come and still enjoy it. There's simple things like years ago when we removed water bottles from hotels, we still look for those initiatives, look for those opportunities to stay ahead of the curve in sustainability. Our chefs source locally. Our footprint is small, and we pair that with just extraordinary service. But it's something that we can be proud of, and our guests are proud to be a part of when they stay with us.
What is one decision that was made during the property's renovation and relaunch that shaped the success you're seeing now?
The impact we've had with the community. This has always been a place that Haywood County and greater Western North Carolina could come, could experience adventure, and we don't want any roadblocks to be in the way of that. So early on, we invited our community here, and rather than even having a regular job fair when we were positioning our recruitment efforts, we invited our community to a big party, and we had a local bluegrass band playing. The horses were out. Chef did a whole hog. We wanted people to come here and see what this experience was and feel that service. And invite them to be part of this, positioning our property to be something the community can be very proud of, and then paying back service to our community, positioning ourselves for hurricane relief efforts and delivering food to those in need. Anything we can do to be a part of this community, our team is committed to, and it's our expectation as leaders to be present and be part of the greater Haywood County community.
I agree that it's a small business owner's responsibility to be a good steward within their community. And y'all have clearly been intentional about creating local buy in. What advice would you give another hospitality leader who is trying to gain community support in a rural area?
Take advantage of the local tourism development authority, the Chamber of Commerce. Our tax dollars provide the funding for these institutions and organizations to give back to the community. So I think as a cornerstone of our community, we should be represented, and we should partner with the Tourism Development Authority, those other business leaders within our community, to create a shared vision, to share what our properties are doing, to garner up, excitement from the local community, and then any community events, whether these are festivals or just simply providing catered lunches on holidays to those service workers that are working hard, those police and fire department and those ladies and gentlemen who are serving us, make it intentional to go out and serve our community and be part of that community. And I think that has to come from a leadership expectation that we have to provide our team members the opportunity to give back. I know our human resources department, the director of human resources, Sherry, and myself will often look for ways we can give back or donate or share our time with our community and just being present there.
Do you see hospitality businesses playing a larger role in regional economic and cultural sustainability?
We attract clientele to our region who wants to come here and experience what our locals experience every day, what we experience living here, the beauty, the serenity. These are new travelers to our destination many times that are also going to give back to our community when they travel locally and see other sites and other businesses. And I think that we are a unique destination, and that there's a Relay and Chateau property here in Western North Carolina that may attract ladies and gentlemen that previously didn't come to the area or didn't even have the region on the map. So many guests come to us from other countries or other parts of the United States and say, I never knew this was here. This is a gem. This is something I had no idea about, but I'll come back again and again. And I think that when we develop those new people that are in love with our community and in love with what we see every day that want to return, it creates not only economic growth, but they get to experience a piece of what we hold so dear.
I think as residents of North and South Carolina, we sometimes take for granted what a special gift it is. The mountains of Western and North Carolina and South Carolina, we grow up with it right down the road, so we're used to it. And we don't realize that so much of the country doesn't have that.
Yes, ma'am.
You have definitely talked a lot about creating a culture where employees thrive, and that's clearly a priority at your property. As a leader, how do you think about supporting your staff's long term well being, financially, physically, or otherwise?
Aubrey, I think about this every day. My team, the individuals that we've surrounded ourselves with at the ranch are special, and they're more important to me than anything we're doing here as a business, to be honest. And I think that's the human component. So I look for ways to provide them the growth, whatever opportunities they're seeking. We want to champion that and we want to drive that. If someone tells me, hey, Terry, I'm having difficulty public speaking, we practice that and we provide them an outlet to model that behavior, to role play. There's a couple of examples that come to mind. Our director of guest services was frightened to stand in front of a group and deliver a morning meeting. And so early on, we practiced in the office behind the scenes, gave her a code word. So if she was feeling stuck, she could say bananas. And that's where I would jump in and take over. And then an opportunity came about where we had a chance to go and speak to students at the University of South Carolina. And I asked if she'd like to come along and practice those skills. And, out of her comfort zone, definitely a little bit embarrassed, but she grew in that moment. And that was growth that she had said she wanted to see. And so we have to be intentional about meeting with our team in a structured way to explore their challenges, the ideas that they have, provide them with recognition that they may not have previously received, and then look to ways that they want to grow. Some people may be just want to have another title or more responsibility. Some people may want a different schedule. Some people may want the opportunity to be more guest facing. And all of those things are opportunities for us to learn about the team members and create this place where what they're seeking and what they're desiring is actually coming to fruition, and the leadership is behind them and pushing them to do so.
It makes my heart happy to hear you guys were down here speaking at my alma mater. Were you guys at the hospitality school here at USC?
Yes, ma'am. Shout out to Professor Marquette. She invited us back, and just a lovely group of students that were very engaged.
Go Gamecocks. What do you think makes Cataloochee a place where people want to stay and grow their careers?
It's authentic. It's the real deal. There's people here that care. This is a place where you can work and grow in a career. You can learn a skill set that's oftentimes very challenging, but very rewarding, and that can help in literally any career path that someone wants to take. If they're interested in hospitality, they've found a group of people who are experts in this field and who are still teachable and humble and want to continue to grow themselves, myself included. But if these are ladies and gentlemen that would prefer to work in sales or retail or be a doctor or a lawyer, they can learn a valuable set of skills here that are going to help and align with their career growth in whatever place they choose to do so.
Y'all have had the added challenge of Hurricane Helene last year. After navigating through both the pandemic, the historic renovation, and a natural disaster, what did you learn about your own resilience as a leader?
It just reinforced that the people who work with me, that we employ, that are part of this thing we do, are the most important part. So taking care of those people that are around us, stopping, checking in with them, sitting down with them. People are reluctant to tell you what they need, and many times will often feel as though they're burdening someone when they need to ask for help. We have to make time. It has to be intentional to hear what our people need, and just listening, being open to providing help when they need it, and to push them to do the same thing for those in their employ. Take care of the people. That's really all it comes down to. The people are more important than the business. And if the people are treated like they're more important than the business will thrive.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of leadership advice, what would that be?
This question gets asked a lot. And for me, it's just patience. Listen, pause, and practice patience, because not everything needs to be a split-second decision. In our industry and in hospitality, we work at a very fast pace, and every decision feels like it's huge and it's impactful. And to our guest experience, it often is. And to our team member experience working here, it often is. And we're oftentimes reactive rather than proactive. So my best advice for me, 20 years ago and today is pause, think it through, and it doesn't have to be a split-second decision.
What would be a book or a YouTube channel or a podcast that has influenced who you are as a leader that you would share with our listeners?
Anything that Dr. Brian Williams provides, I listen to. This is very early in my career. He was the training director for the Ritz-Carlton hotel properties and was so inspirational. I was, for the first time, in a room surrounded by like-minded people that really just wanted to serve others and had this deep desire and calling to serve. And he taught us ways to lead in a way that I think evoked that same feeling from other individuals that were here to be of service. So Dr. Brian Williams is a huge influence on my career. We actually invited him out here to the ranch to speak prior to opening. 20 years came full circle where we were talking about our time at the Ritz-Carlton 20 years ago. But I pay special attention to anything he puts out. Simon Sinek is another really influential person. Another leader that I worked with at the Enchantment Resort was Kirk Wilkinson, and he wrote a book called How to Be a Better Leader. That one has proven incredibly helpful to me.
What's one thing you hope every guest takes away from their time at Cataloochee Ranch?
Memories. This is a place that is so filled with memories. So their time together as a family, the place that they have or the chapter that they have in our story, this is a place where memories have taken place over multiple generations. It's very special, where each guest that's here, I'd like them to walk away thinking, Gosh, those are really incredible memories that I have and that I got to make with my family there at that place.
So, shifting gears a little, speak to somebody else who might be dreaming about getting into boutique hospitality or starting their own business in that field. What's the first lesson you'd want them to learn?
Gosh, I guess humility. Know when we're wrong or when we have made a mistake and own it and surround ourselves with people who really believe in the same thing, that we can practice humility and that we can stay teachable all the way through our career. I think if you had one lesson, it would be humble, practice humility, and take good care of the people that are in your employ.
Sound advice no matter what business model you're in. Your employees pretty much help you run your business. So, taking good care of them is taking care of the financial heart of your business.
Very early on, we said, who are we and what's our mission statement? And we looked at probably 1,000 different companies and their mission statement. And we said, we want it to be really simple. We are here to improve lives through genuine care. And if we practice that in every single thing we do, every team member we interact with, every guest we interact with, every member of our community, our purpose is to just improve their lives through real, genuine care.
How would our listeners connect with you? Or where would they go?
Well, first and foremost, visit CataloocheeRanch.com and take a look at all the exciting things we're doing up here on the mountain. Connect with me on LinkedIn or certainly reach out, Terry at CataloocheeRanch.com. Be happy to be of service.
Thank you, Terry. Are there any other parting words of advice that you might give to a young entrepreneur or somebody who is getting ready to go out and be on their own, stepping out from that corporate umbrella and chasing a dream?
Well, do something you love, have fun doing it, and take care of the people that are around you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time this morning.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And come visit.
Thanks for tuning in to Founders and Frontlines, part of the Real Business Lifetime Lessons podcast, hosted by Lifetime Insurance Agency. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of growth, grit, and leadership from entrepreneurs across the Carolinas. And if you're a Carolina resident needing help with health, life, or Medicare insurance, our team at Lifetime Insurance is here for you.